Let me see here. Cool. And we're live. Amazing. Yo. I was wondering what I ain't got plugged in. Right? I was wondering what I ain't got plugged in. Turns out, didn't have the hitbox up. Yo. We're live and we're at 1,000. We went up to 1,002 and then we went back down, but that's okay. Goal achieved. You feel me? All right, we back on this game. We trying to spread joy on this game. You feel me? All right, let's see here. This should go. Boom. Sent out the ping. You feel me? I do want to go over a couple of things, right? Let's see on my list here. Pull up my list here. Okay. How to walk someone down to the corner. Okay. Oh, this was set up for video. Okay, how to walk someone down to the corner. Why does this game feel like this? Why does the game feel like this? Seriously, why does the game feel like this? Okay, it's fine. We move. It's fine. Yo, why is that so fast? Is it me or does his thing feel mad fast? I feel like when other people press jab, is nice. Okay, alright, yo. Axe, yo, what's good? The one with the hey, I see that thing next to your name, Damai. I see that thing next to your name. It's looking sweet right there. That joint looking mad sweet next to your name. What up, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. Damn, that thing is looking sweet next to your name. Alright. I want a couple more people funnel in, and then what I want to do is that I want to lean into some reacts. So I hope you guys are doing well, though. You know what I mean? And hey, man, listen. Hey, man, I appreciate it, bro. I truly do. Oh, Lee. Being that thing there is insane, brother. Oh, shoot. Axe, you joined the Platjacks too? Bro, listen, that's insane, bro. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Why? Is there a reason why I'm fighting? Okay. Brother, why am I? Can you, do you know how to answer here? Okay. It does seem like he kind of knows how to fight, but just not really. It feels like he kind of knows how to fight. No? Seems like he kind of knows how to fight. Oh no. Join the future tourneys for sure, bro. I'm trying to boot that up. What are you doing? Wow, you latex? I could be going for... Let's see how many times you'll get hit by this. Until you died. Oh my goodness, bro. Hey man, listen, I appreciate you joining the project, bro. Brother. Can we not waste our time here? Please. This is a big waste of both of each other's time. So if y'all don't know what we trying to do, so before we begin everything. Oh, you finally answered. That's good. All right. But we're not doing this though. This is a waste of time. I'm sorry. With my new controller. Oh, your new controller has helped you a lot with instant driver. Good. It's good. It's good to have. It's good to have in the arsenal, man. Granted, our characters don't really make too much use of it, but you know, when you need a knockdown or when you really need to get close pretty quickly, it definitely helps out for sure. So, Lotus dropped a video talking about like skill, and I think it's the same person. Damn it. I'm talking about skill, and then I kind of wanted to go watch it again. I watched about half of it, admittedly. I thought it was interesting, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about on stream. So I think we're gonna do that. I wanted a couple more people to... Brother. Come on. Wow. Woo! I like that. Now back in the corner. Did you think I ain't got no options, huh? Oh, that's a bad choice. Oh wow. Bro, I feel like when I'm playing this, I'm like, okay. No, I can't reach there. I can't reach there. Yo, Maze, what's good? I see you. What are you doing? I don't know what game you're playing. Are we playing the same game? Woo. Yeah, I need to do better against that option. Oh, he's actually playing? He's actually gaming. Wow, he actually gamed there. It's like he got serious for a moment. Although I'm not, it doesn't matter to me. Yo. That's far. Brother, come here, please. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm dead. Please, no, save me. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I still can't take this guy serious. Am I dead? Nice. I still don't want to play you though, because you kind of suck. Maybe I'm terrible. Maybe I'm a terrible person. Hey man, it'd be like that. If I could get an opponent, that wasn't that person, I would play it out. So, but yeah, so I definitely want to go over that video. That video, I feel like it talks about a lot of the things that people are going through, and it might be entertaining to go over it. Oh, we get Kim that we're not on the same plane, and we got Manon. I hate mirror matches, bro. Alright, let's do it. There you go. Okay. No. Okay. Right. Okay. All right. Okay, game. Thank you. That's good. Alright. I gotta turn on my brain and I don't really want to. Yo, Blaze, I see you. Aye. Nice. You should have definitely turned it around on me. Mm-hmm. You're gonna cash here? I will take the robbery. I will take the robbery. Ooh. That's a good point to do it if I ever saw one. There we go. Robbery. Really hate mirror matches. Bam, 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 bam. Oh my gosh. Nice. Wait, 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 wait. Okay. Nice. Mm-hmm. No. Ah, I baited it pretty well too. Yeah. You chose up back? That's such a weird option. But you got me. Okay, so this is another. Oh god. Okay. Oh, I got caught. Boy, I could have, okay. Me, 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 me. Oh my god, my inputs. I definitely went for the robbery. I'm not gonna lie to you. I went for the robbery. It was on the table. I had to go for it. Wah, 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 wah. Just Robin Mo, yeah. Just Robin Mo, yeah. By the way, if we was in tournament, GG, shake my hand, baby. Ah, that's Koch. Wing, wing. One more? There we go. Alright, we'll take that one. Nice. That's good. So a lot of them, it seems that it's a consistent thing that... that was a bad one. Woo. Oh, I don't have meter for it. Why do folks empty jump DI? I don't know why I pressed that button. No! I don't want to play anymore, bro. I don't want to play anymore, bro. You've got to be kidding me, bro. Son. Nah, bro. I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to play anymore. Let's just do the thing, bro. It was this This brother's life was mine, bro. This man's life was over. Your soul is mine. Like that. Ooh. Ooh. I'm going through it. Oh my goodness, bro. I was like, yo, I jumped it and I'm like, party time. Party time. By the way, guys, we've officially reached 100k views. The moment we hit 1k subs, we get 100k views. Oh, yeah, no, it's Steam. It's not him. I'm not saying it's him, but it was party time, bro. Oh, I'm so tired, bro. All right, let's watch this thing. All right, let's watch this thing because I think this thing was pretty good. I think it's a pretty good conversation here. I'm starting with a little bit of a skip here, namely because there was a little bit of an intro stuff. We don't necessarily need to do that, right?
Punk the God, the Street Fighter 6 player. Well, he's a Street Fighter player in general, fighting game player in general, predominantly known for Street Fighter, but he's really good at it.
Let me know if you guys can hear it, by the way.
I put out a tweet earlier this morning that reads, I feel like Tekken has to be the last fighting game where being better than someone actually matters anymore. Every other fighting game is just about getting your opponent in a guessing situation and possibly winning off of it, no matter the skill difference.
Okay. Let me start off with number one. This cap. Okay, the reason why this is particularly cap is because there's a lot of things surrounding this conversation, right? if you guys don't know, the CPT US East finals just happened, right? So during that whole debacle, I think his name is Paladin. I want to go with Paladin. We're gonna go with Paladin. If I need to correct, I will. But essentially, Punk got 3-0'd by Paladin. Now, if you don't know who Paladin is, he is a 16-year-old player. So those who would like to say the fact that, oh, this is not coming from a place of like salt or whatever, granted, you might feel that way, and you know what, it might be the case, but with the things surrounding what happened, this coming out the time that it did makes it seem a little bit suspicious in my mind, right? Starting there. 2, this tweet kind of makes it feel as though, okay, if I'm playing Street Fighter 6, Street Fighter 6 is considered every other fighting game, meaning you just have to force your opponent to guess, and if you guess, then you win. Now, the reason why I feel as though this is fundamentally a little bit wrong is because if let's look at almost every game out there, is you play the neutral, whatever the game looks like, whatever the neutral looks like in that game, you play the neutral. Once you're done playing the neutral, then you run your stupid offense in the corner. It doesn't matter if you're playing Blaze Blue. Doesn't matter playing Guilty. No matter playing Street Fighter. Street Fighter 5, same thing. Street Fighter 4, same thing. You know what I mean? Like, and you go down the list, right? Maybe the older like the pistol ones, maybe like Alpha 3, maybe not on that time. But even then, there was like you know, knockdown into 40% guess on command grab. You know what I mean? Like you have to guess. I don't see a world where it's just like I think SQ, well, he's going to talk about it a little bit later, but when SQ was talking about it, it's like, oh, when you start out with fighting games, you're like, damn, this is like super scrubby, whatever. And then you get a little bit intermediate, and then you're thinking, okay, you know what, there's a lot of intricacies there, whatever, woo-de-woo. Then when you get to the highest level, you're like, damn, this is scrubby again. This thought process is making people feel as though, like, at the highest level, it means you cannot cheese your opponent out. Well, provided, you know what I mean? Like, you can definitely throw some people's ways and whatever have you, but when it comes to actually dealing with a lot of the inner machinations of the game, you need to have that knowledge in order to get that far. If you don't have that, the barrier into the highest level is super high. And although people don't feel that way because they've been around the block, it is hard for a lot of folk to reach that level. You feel what I'm saying?
And I thought this was pretty interesting. And I guess to give a little bit of context, it's worth noting that this tweet comes the day after he lost in a big Street Fighter tournament to a young talented player by the name of Paladin. So there's obviously some salt that is still left over from that loss in this tweet. But I feel like I scrolled very, very briefly through some of the replies to the quote tweets just to kind of get the vibe of, you know, how people felt about this and see where the community, you know, lied when it came to this opinion or this topic. And there were, as you probably would imagine, a lot of people who were like discounting or discrediting it entirely.
For some people, they feel as though, well, actually, I'm gonna go into it once the video's over, but I'm gonna tell you about the fighting game Illuminati.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
This was made in a little
fresh out for losing from Michelle and Christy. No, that's technically not true. Negative. Because a lot of those the Street Fighter League stuff, that stuff was already recorded, so we already knew the results. They already knew the results of the matches, like probably like months in advance from now, right? What we see is the stuff that they already recorded and they're releasing live, but those weren't live events. Okay.
You know, mean that we just completely overlook what he's saying here and just write it off because, like, oh, this is just
they were pre-recorded. However, sorry to keep pausing. However, the tweet that Chris T made about his win and, you know, a little bit of pop off, everyone saying that he's washed, that put Punk in a little bit of a salty mood because it felt like it was coming
point that
towards
I kind
him.
of disagree with, and there are obviously some parts
Yeah.
that I don't necessarily agree with. But let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit. Now, this subject isn't new. This is something that we've talked about before. I don't know if I've ever made a dedicated video about it, but it's something that has come up in my videos, you know, in the past, whether it's just me while I'm playing a ranked game or whatever the case may be. But to some degree, it does feel like, you know, fighting games aren't as much about a difference in skill as they may have been in the past. But I don't know if there's really any truth to that or if that's just how it feels, because there's always been BS in fighting games. There's always been guessing in fighting.
To add to this, yes, there has always been BS, but the thing is that when you were talking about the game, hold on. Biggest thing nobody talks about when complaining about fighting games being RPS simulators is that you can actually be good at RPS. There are pros with insane records who can beat a normal. Yeah. There are people who have insane reactions, right? And Paladin was on that timing. And you also got to consider, like, if both players are playing at their best, someone's still got to lose, right? And it comes down to a decision that you made in the game that can definitely turn the tide, and or maybe you just woke up that day and you're not playing your best, right? Those are things that are also that get swept under the rug, right? Yeah, like life is part of life. Sometimes you're not playing at your best, right? And that's okay too. But like, unfortunately, it sucks and it doesn't feel good because, like, okay, you know that on a normal day you're reacting to drive rush or you're reacting to DI, but today might not be that day, and then they end up running that last DI. You end up losing $1 million because of it. It hurts. It sucks. It's tragic, really. But that's the reality of it, you know? But then to blame the game, and that's the problem with the North American scene, is that they'd much rather blame the game and for what it's not, as opposed to try and change to who you are to fit what is in the game. No? End of the day, having to guess does not mean something is random. I'll get into that when I get to the FGC Illuminati, bro.
It feels like Tekken has to be the last fighting game where being better than someone actually matters anymore. And this is obviously relevant or topical because we just got the close of the final Tekken World Tour for Tekken 7. The World Tour for that game finally came to a close. Arslan Ash has been crowned the champion and cemented himself as the most skilled, the most dominant, and the most decorated Tekken 7 player by far, hands down. So big congratulations.
Arslan Ash might be one of the most decorated across the board, really. It's actually kind of insane how decorated.
Evo champion, 2 times for Evo Vegas, 2 times for Evo Japan. He's the only player that has won an Evo and a TWT event. He won Combo Breaker a couple of times and other events along the way, and he's just, yeah, what he did is incredible. And you know, he deserves it. He works hard, he trains hard, he plays hard, and you know, he showed that he is just the most skilled player at the game. And Punk probably saw this as well, and that's kind of what probably led him to this conclusion, right? And he goes on to say, every other fighting game is just about getting your opponent in a guessing situation and possibly winning off of it, no matter the skill difference. And it feels like these days in a lot of games, there's a lot of mix-up and a lot of RPS. RPS especially, it seems like something that's very prevalent in games today, and it's something that's always been around, but some games lean into it more heavily than others. Quickly, if you don't know what RPS means, it's just short for rock.
I'm definitely going to make a video about RPS.
Where you're guessing between these options.
I have to make
both
one.
Players are essentially guessing. So in the same way that, you know, rock beats scissors, scissors beat paper, paper beats rock, you have options in fighting games where it's like, say for example, attacks beat throws, throws beat blocking, and blocking beats attacks, right? And so obviously there are more situations and more nuanced situations or specific situations that come up in fighting games. But it seems that, like, not only do those RPS situations come up a lot more in fighting games, and I'm sorry, I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit and sounding a bit redundant, but not only do those come up a lot more in fighting games, but like they're more frequent, and how you get to them also is like easier, you know what I'm saying? Because of neutral skips and whatnot, which we'll talk a little bit about later.
Okay.
But
he does talk about it. I'll let him rock. I'll let him rock.
Now, he says that he feels like Tekken is the last fighting game where being better than someone actually matters anymore because there's probably like less RPS and less BS. And Tekken is like slower, more methodical. It is, you know, a game where you have to know frame data and matchups, and you know, you have to play neutral a certain way and pokes and everything like that. And something that's very popular, like a term that's getting thrown around a lot these days in fighting games, is neutral skip, right? it feels like, you know, every month there's like a new term that the FGC catches on to and then gets thrown around and people hear it for the first time and then run it into the ground, right? Whether it's neutral skip, whether it's saying something like, oh, I gapped him, or this person got gapped, or like I remember it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, gapped is a crazy way to go about saying I'm better than someone.
Like, I know more characters have install, right? And it's like
it's insane the fact that you would even think like, yo, I gapped you, son.
And I would say that for the most part, I don't personally feel like Tekken is a game that has a lot of neutral skips. The funny part about that is that a lot of things that people probably value and appreciate in Tekken, whether it be in Tekken 7 or older titles,
I don't think it's gonna be a little bit of a hotter take here. The reason why there's less neutral skips, and I think this might be the case for 3D fighting games. The reason why there's a lot less neutral skipping is because if you do, you're right there. Yeah, like, yo, gapped is crazy, but your opponent's right there. You know what I mean? And neutral looks different in each game, right? The thing about 2D fighting games is because for some sicko reason, the people who have the loudest voices in the FGC are the Street Fighter heads. And for some reason, when it comes to the Street Fighter heads, they believe that their way of neutral is the only way to neutral. Yeah, so when someone says gap, they mean like, yes, you got skill gapped, you know? But they just like to keep it short, like, I gapped you. Yeah, it's like, yo, bro, you just got gapped. Crazy. Not for me, but crazy. Right? So, like, your opponent, this might be a hotter take, right? But your opponent's right there. Your neutral looks different. 3D games, your opponent's right there. You know, yeah, you can like dash out, right, and play like a little bit further out or whatever, try to keep them out, check the space, whatever. And that's their version of neutral. But it looks different than other games. So comparing it to other games, or the essence of neutral, people never seem to want to acknowledge the fact that neutral looks different in every game. Gabs is crazy, bro. Gabs is crazy.
Is going to change in Tekken 8 largely due to the heat mechanic, among other factors as well.
Don't have enough riz. Boy, that's where you got like you got a whole wife, bro. You ain't need riz no more.
To beginner players and so on and so forth. And so it's funny because this opinion might not be something that he has if he's somebody who attempts to get into Tekken.
That sounds like something you can get arrested for.
Or dope about this game no longer
in some contexts, yes.
It's going to be an incredible game.
In some contexts,
yes. I'm very excited about. And there's a lot of things that I think are going to be absolutely amazing about the game, maybe the best.
Nah, I'm messing with you, Blaze. I'm messing with you.
And only time will really tell, and hopefully that stays true because I'm really excited about for that game. But even in Tekken 7, I would say that there are, as with anything, exceptions to the rule. The rule being that it's more traditional, it's more methodical, it's slower, etc., etc. In fact, Arslan Ash, while he ended up winning the final match of the event with Katarina, which was a shock to everyone. Not because we're surprised that he can play Katarina, but it's just not the character you would expect at a grand final of the biggest event for the final tournament of this game. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he played a lot of Kunimitsu. And Kunimitsu,
little bit of the yapping, but you know it's okay. Let the brother go. You know what I mean? We're gonna increase the amount of guap he gets.
Popular reasons being the fact that she's just very strong, and as with any fighting game, people are going to tend to dislike the characters who are strong because people always hate the top tiers, right? Unless you play that character, you tend to hate them.
Can we talk about that for a second? I feel like this is very interesting. Okay, not because he said it, but it's something that gets easily overlooked a lot of the time. The fact that let me even boot up the game real fast here. Let me boot up the game real fast. Okay. Start the game in offline mode, sure. In the case that Ken and JP and DJ are not the top tiers in the game, someone has to go there. If Luke gets the banhammer and Jamie gets the buffs, Jamie is going to be the one who become hated now. Okay? If JP gets the nerf, okay, and Blanca gets the buffs, People are gonna say Blanca is scrubby. You're always going to have a top tier. You're always going to have characters with really strong options. You're always gonna have characters that do annoying things to you. Now, with that being said, how do we get past that layer? Because people do not seem to understand how to get past that layer. Okay? Notice how the people who win the most complain the least. The folks that are online yapping away talking about, oh, the game too broken, oh, perfect parry, oh, JP's juggle points, oh, Jinrai, oh, OD amnesia, oh, crouch strong. You know what I mean? Like, if you just go around, oh, I forgot a big one. Oh, SA2, you know, oh, Chun-Li, you know, you keep complaining about everything, bro. There's always going to be something. If it ain't Sway, it's Fireball Drive Rush. If it ain't Fireball Drive Rush, plus unblock normal. If it's not plus unblock normal, insane setups. If it ain't setups, cheap SA. If it ain't cheap SA, cheap special move. If it ain't cheap special move, impossible to get in. If it ain't impossible to get in, busted dive kick. If it ain't busted dive kick, super armor. You see what I mean? Like, you can just keep going down the rabbit hole. Impossible to catch. You know what I mean? You can keep going down the rabbit hole. Neutral skips. You can keep going down the rabbit hole of complaints. At a certain point, you're gonna have to be like, brother, what will you do about it? Instead of complaining about it, do something about it. Oh, I can't do anything about it. How about, instead of whining about it, how about we boot up the game and figure it out? But no one ever wants to boot up the game. It's actually very funny and very interesting how little people actually go and lab things. It's normally the lab monsters who will discover something, and then it'll be the pros that go ahead and do something with it. It's not very often that we'll find the players themselves, NA only, because I'm coming after NA, because the other communities, they ain't that bad. Don't get me wrong, EUs can be pretty bad with it, but NA, whine and they keep talking. Let's do something about it. Okay, the game ain't going to change for you. It's not. It's all about mix-ups, not gonna lie, because if they're in your head, you're gonna be like Kakeru eating 10 throws in a row. Yeah, you know, you gotta make sure that like you stop the complaint. And this goes for you guys as well, trying to make it to masters. Like, sure, like you might think your character might be weak or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, you gotta make the change. The game ain't gonna change. You're not gonna rewrite the code for everybody, right? You're not gonna give Manon a full screen command grab. It's not gonna happen. So how do I find a way to consistently get myself in and start blowing fellas up? How do I do it? You need to figure that out. You need to make that change. Anyways, let's get back to the video, yeah?
Goes, but also she's a character who's very heavily focused and built around mix-ups and making your opponent guess, and that's not something that we really see a whole lot traditionally in Tekken.
By the way, making your opponent guess, ain't nothing wrong with it, bro. You earned your knockdown, run your offense. Now people complain. It's, by the way, let me put that in there too. It is a weird phenomena that happens. Okay, number one, it's either oh, how come I gotta guess on offense because I knocked him down? I should be able to do whatever I want to them. Okay, then when offense is too strong, oh my goodness, offense is so strong, it feels snowbally. I can't do anything. So what do you want? What do you want? You see what I mean? You're just complaining. Like a good example of this is in Grand Blue. For those who don't play Grand Blue, they put like a drive reversal in the game. But the thing is that drive reversal, instead of being negative when blocked, it's actually plus on block, +6, which is pretty plus, right? The downside to this is the fact that you're only able to use a maximum of 3 at a time. You may be able to get a counter back by using one of your supers, but regardless of that, you only have 3 at a time. And if you get down to 1 counter, the damage increases, and if you have no counters, the damage upon you increases again. So you have to be while it's super strong, you also have to be super mindful. Yo, I was just watching this video and about to do my thoughts on this video as well. I kind of want to pull you in and kind of talk to you about this because, man,
a lot of like guesswork and mix-ups in it. Now, that's not to say that mix-ups don't exist, because
I'm probably gonna cut this up too. I'm gonna cut this up and post it.
A lot of characters have mix-ups this part out to their rage drive or just having certain plus frames, whatever. It's a lot more about the pokes, the neutrals, block punishing, whiff punishing.
Yeah, so I always want to show respect. So this is on Lotus's most recent video. If you want to go ahead and watch it, I can also link drop it as well. You know, I always want to show respect. You know what I mean?
Like
he made the video. We're gonna react. We're gonna do it right. You know.
Necessarily the case in people how people truly feel. But it is what people say, right? People want more footsies. They want more neutral. They want less neutral skips, and so on and so forth. And Tekken is one of those games that, until Tekken 8, doesn't really have a whole lot of that.
Can I just say, by the way, I know I'm pausing a lot, but y'all gonna have to hold it. Like, people say they want footsies. They lie. They lie. They do not want footsies. Footsies is a lie. Yeah. Whoever told them is a lie from hell. Whoever told them they want footsies, they don't want footsies. They want to win. Because the moment they start fighting somebody who doesn't have to apply the same level of footsies, they crumble. And at that, their level of footsies is not even good. They don't want footsies. They want kusage. If you don't know what kusage is, it's like really degenerate fighting.
But Tekken 7 is far from a perfect game, and I'm sure Tekken 8 won't be perfect either. But when you have characters like Akuma and Geese Howard on top of characters like Kunimitsu, yeah, the Tekken players definitely had their fair share of like, we don't fuck with this at all. This isn't Tekken. This isn't real Tekken. We don't like this. This doesn't belong in the game. This is
and watch when after like a month of Tekken 8, we gonna be like, yo, Tekken 7 really wasn't that bad for real. Like, it's gonna happen because it happens every time.
Akuma was never really liked because he was like broken at the very start. Nerfed him quite a bit.
Oh, 100% of that. 100% of that.
Still really broken. Everybody just didn't know it until a few years ago, and he's been dominant ever since. And Geese Howard has been ridiculous since his launch as well, and it has also been nerfed, but it's still very, very powerful. So you have Tekken characters and non-Tekken characters who kind of were dominant in the game, much to people's what's the word I'm looking for? Distress, chagrin, something along those lines. You know what I'm trying to say, right? A lot of people.
Oh, it's chagrin.
And I'm personally of the belief that more of that is going to exist in Tekken 8. But we'll see. But I definitely get where he's coming from, because if you look at Guilty Gear Strive, if you look at Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, games that I enjoy, games that I think are really good, Street Fighter 6, they all have these like neutral skip things where people can just kind of wild out, be more YOLO, get huge reward on just gambling heavily. And you know, when I sit down and think about it, and you can feel free to disagree. And like I said, this is a discussion video, so I'm not trying to convince anybody to agree with my opinion. I'm just giving kind of my thoughts.
Anyway, maybe all my schooling went to
it. Does feel, in comparison to these games, like a game that is less about constant gambling, constant mix-ups, constant guessing, and like I said, more so actually having more knowledge and skill than your opponent. Now, with that being said, Tekken 7 is also much older than some of these games. You might even be able to say that it's not an old game per se, but Tekken 7 originally released in arcades in 2015 and then on console in 2017, right? So it's a 9-year-old game or 7-year-old, depending on how you want to look at it. But either way, when we're comparing it to these other games, you know, these games have been
okay. I'm gonna finish the video and then I'll hit you.
And then forward, Strive came out like what 2019. Street Fighter 6 just came out last year. Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising just came out a couple months ago, so on and so forth. And while the game has been updated throughout the years, it's about to get its actual like modern or most recent installment here in just a couple of weeks. And it seems to me like the things that people dislike the most in Tekken 7 were the things that kind of broke that. And honestly, I am someone that does share the opinion that a lot of games today, they have the agenda of trying to make it so that anybody can win. And
hold on. See. This is the statement I, this is a statement that, while correct, needs to be put in a better way. Because when it's put like this, it makes it seem like, oh, like Johnny from across the street can just join a Street Fighter 6 online tournament and just win. When it's worded it like that, it makes people think like that. But that's not the case, right? The case is actually, it makes it, number one, at a base level. It means that at a base level, aka the casual level, yeah, you could go toe to toe with your opponent. It's entirely possible to do so. That's cool. But when we start wording it like, where anybody can win, like the folk that are at the top didn't work to get there. Like they didn't play thousands of matches to get there. Like they didn't do their research to get there. Right? It's obviously, I wouldn't say it's disingenuous on Lotus's part. I would never say that. But what I would say is the fact that it creates this idea that anybody, right? Anybody can win. But in actuality, it's more like anybody can pick up this game and play. So what these games are trying to do is they're trying to keep their barrier of entry low, especially because you have to pay for these games, right? You have to pay your $60 to get in the door, right? To actually try the game. They're trying to keep the barrier of entry low while keeping the skill gap relatively high. That is the goal that they're going for. That's the same thing they did with Strive. Same thing that they're going for with Street Fighter 6. When people start saying things like, oh, like it feels like anyone can win, it makes it seem as though like the barrier of entry is low and the highest skill level ceiling is low as well. But it is not true. At least in my opinion, it's not true. There's a lot of work that goes into getting to that highest level. And if you just disingenuously say that, oh, it's not really anything at all, and you don't really get anything from it. All right, let's continue.
Well, Fighters is another game that's a big example of this, where the actual motive behind the game, or the design
what's the
alternative
though?
Is to make it not only
Okay,
accessible,
SF6
but put
at
players
low
in a
ranks.
state where even a lower skilled player can be
I
a
got
higher
placed
skilled player.
there. It's basically a reaction time test because everyone just DIs. Yeah, to be honest, I love how Capcom did their ranking system. It's easy to get to Masters, but for casuals like me, it's not as easy. Let the pros go at it in Masters. Yep. With their MR. Yeah. Exactly.
Now, before we go further into that point, with that being said, while I do have the opinion that this is kind of the trend or the direction for modern fighting games, I do still believe that the majority of the time, the more skilled player should and does win. There is a reason why at the highest level of games, you still see consistency among the top players. You very rarely see these anomalies where some player who wasn't that good picks up a certain character or a certain team or whatever and suddenly starts dominating, right? You rarely see these players who you wouldn't necessarily consider good at games suddenly become a top player. There's a reason for that, because at the end of the day, fighting games are hard. They do take skill, they do take, practice and knowledge and everything like that. And while at some levels you might see a certain player pick up a character and do better than they would have before, it doesn't necessarily translate to you going from somebody who would be like an 0-2 player to making a top 8 at a major. But having said that, it does feel as though the skill gap has shrunk a little bit, and that there are more times now where a lower level player or a less skilled player can and does in fact win.
Stop! Okay, I want to go in on this point here. Okay, this is what I find very odd. Okay, because a lot of the time when we have this conversation in a bubble. What is that bubble? That bubble is the assumption that there's just the game and only the game, and there's no other factors involved. This is not right. Okay? When it comes to this conversation as a whole, there are more factors such as more resources, more content creators, right? These things like dust loops, FAT, other different resource sites to learn. All of these help with the process of closing in that skill gap. Because for those who would like to learn, there are opportunities and resources, like my channel, by the way, are there for such things, right? If we just consider it in a bubble, the fact that, the skill gap is getting smaller, right? Then obviously it's gonna seem that way. Okay, that is point number one. Point number two is the fact that these folk, the only skill gap that was truly there in the ages of old was not tech, but it was combos. 1 to 2 frame links. Maybe when I get in a conversation with Narakami a little bit later, maybe he might set me straight on this. But to my knowledge, the main difference, skill gap, was how well you were able to do those 1 to 2 frame gap combos. The combos. The tech is there, right? And once again, even when it comes to tech is easier to find now than it was in the past. And I know there are some, even some of my homies don't believe this, but I believe that if, say, Exerd were to drop now, or any of those, or BBCF were to drop like fresh new game now, they would be fine. The community would be fine. They struggle a little bit at the beginning on combos over. Eventually, would be fine. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's the skill gap is combos. If I'm being honest, the skill gap is combos. But I'll let them rock.
That is 100% by design. Like, I do truly believe developers are by design making it easier.
And even then, I know I keep pausing, but even then, like, the easier in quotation marks is the simple inputs. Why? Because execution becomes easier, aka combos become easier. See what I'm saying? Combos. It's combos. It stopped being, at some point, stop being about your tech, being about the different strategies that you create to counter people, and more about, when I get my hit, can I optimize? That's what it was. Now it's more focusing around, all right, what type of tech do you have? What type of how are you approaching the matchup? Because combos stop coming like as important, because they're easier now, right? So now it's more focused around what you're doing, how you're conducting yourself in neutral, how you're breaking, either busting out on defense, or how you're conducting defense, right? When you get into a situation like this, these are the things that start to become more and more important. But NA don't see it like that.
For players to somehow luck out, or of flail their way to victory more often than it was in the past. And again, like, there's always been fighting games that
the skill your way to victory is combos.
Older Street Fighter games that have had their own.
It's not tech.
So I'm not trying to say like, oh, back in my day we had good old honest footsies and neutrals, and fighting games took skill back in my day. But like, I almost feel like this one point in particular can't even be argued, that fighting games are trying to dedicate the games more to casuals. Like, that is as an active point that they are trying to make, something that they're actively trying to do with the release of these titles. And they do try to shorten the skill gap, and they're not completely, sorry, I kind of smacked my mic there, I was moving my hands around a lot while I was talking, but they're not completely erasing or eliminating like skill and practice and knowledge from the games, but they are trying to make it so that it's not as big of a requirement to win constantly as I feel like it may have been before.
At a lower level, right? I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying at a lower level. At a higher level, you need your knowledge in check. You need strategies in check. Now it's more strategy based, right? Because everyone can do the combo. For like I can. I was about to say gap, but let's go with it. I can gap my opponent just by making sure that I can hit the 1 to 2 frame link. When I can hit the 1 to 2 frame link, then I get put in a better situation had I gone for the generic route. Now you're put in this messed up situation, gotta guess, whatever, woo de woo, and then GG's, shake my hand. Hold my hand, by the way. Shake my hand, right?
Yeah, I don't know. There's also something to be said about fighting games and how how do I explain? Fighting games, they come full circle, right? And I feel like a lot of things in life are obviously this way, But I saw a tweet that I believe was from SQ where it was like, you know, at a low level fighting games are like, oh, my opponent's just mashing and guessing, and at a high, and then like at an intermediate level, it's like, okay, I've done the lab work on this, I know this setup, I know this situation, I have a punish for this, etc. etc. You know what I'm saying? I need to do this string or I backdash here. You know what I'm saying? And then at the high level, it's like, oh my god, this person is just mashing and flailing, and it's funny because it's true, right? And that's the case in fighting games.
I'm not gonna lie. Mashing and flailing is a cope that well-known players use against less well-known players to justify why they lost or why they're having difficulty. Sit with that, okay? Saying, well, it was even said earlier in the chat. I don't see. I probably have to scroll up, but it's definitely a cope that is spread around in order to make well-known players feel better about their loss to lesser known well players or not known players, right? Because if like you know, we were actually talking about it in the Discord like last night. If a well-known player does wake up super, you know, it's a barre. You know, barre is that kind of word of saying mashing, right? It's a barre. It's he knew what was going on. But if it's a lower skill player or sorry, not lower skill, if it's a non-known player, bro, he was mashing super, man. Like, oh, he was just mashing super, right? And maybe you want to attribute it to the fact that, oh, we don't really know this guy, so maybe you might actually be a masher or whatever, right? But there are some well-known players that are just legit mashers, and they will mash on the situation. And if they think that what they're doing is the correct thing to beat your current option and it works, then it was thought about. Just because you didn't see the method to the madness doesn't mean that it was in fact madness. You feel?
That's the case in other things in life. And you know, even when it comes to like specific mechanics or moves or whatever, like something I said before about Dragon Ball FighterZ is the exact same thing, where it's like at a low level, super dash is broken. Then at somewhat of a competent level, super dash is useless because all players are doing is standing around hoping that you super dash so they can 2H. And at a high level again, super dash is broken. You know what I'm saying? And that's just something that you could apply to like a lot of mechanics in fighting games or just fighting games in general. It's like my opponent is just mashing and flailing. And then it's like, okay, you know, we're playing some neutral. I got these punishes, da da da. At the high level, it goes back to my opponent is mashing and flailing because that's kind of what the game rewards to a certain.
To be fair, not Street Fighter. To be fair, DBFZ does go into the category of mashing and flailing hard body. Like your opponent could be like, if you're fighting like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, they could just be mashing their light auto combo the entire time, because if you happen to super dash or even be in the air, the last hit of his auto combo is air invul, right? So if you just happen to go into it at the right time or try to super dash to punish him, you'll end up getting hit for it.
Agree, right? When you get to a certain level in fighting games, you start just doing things wildly and randomly because like, oh, okay, I'm learning the nuance behind this and like the pros and cons to doing this, and I don't want to be too risky because like, you know, I've learned more, I've improved more, and I want to be more methodical in my play. And then when you reach the next level, you're like, man, this shit is broken. I'm gonna just spam this move, or like, this mechanic is fucking stupid. I'm just gonna abuse it. You know what I'm saying? And that's where things get kind of funny and kind of silly. But I don't know. I thought it was an interesting tweet. I thought it would make for interesting discussion. I don't want to drag this video out too long because
okay, I think he's packed up. So I want to hear you guys' opinion on the matter. Let me know in the comments down below, and let's talk about it. Thank you again for watching. Also, check out Lotus's video if you haven't. You want to check out the whole thing without me yapping in between about my own opinions. Anyways, appreciate you guys as always. Any questions? Alrighty. Let's grab, since we have time before it goes back up. Narakami, you there? I'm gonna call you on Discord. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Because I think it's definitely a good discussion to have. Let's see. Do I have you in the friends list? No, I do not. Oh yeah, I didn't even hit up bro from. Yo. Okay. And then let us. Where's the call button? There it is. We're gonna call him because we gotta definitely talk about this, bro. Let's put on a little bit of the music. Yo. Oh, I just realized I'm on push to talk. 1 second here. Yo.
Yo, what's good?
What's good? Yo, chat, can you guys hear him? Sure, you can hear it quite well. Then I'm gonna put a little bit of Uzak on my end. Low. Copyrighted. Yes. So what's up? So before we get started, give me your short rundown of your opinion. Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, I stepped away for a little bit. I had to turn on some light or shut the door.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, so give me, before we get started for real, give me a short rundown of how you feel with the video.
I'll give you how I'm feeling after the video. Like there's some stuff that I agree with, but then there, like I have completely different complaints on what I think is actually wrong, and especially when it comes to, I guess, perceived skill and whether a better player is always going to win or not.
Okay.
That's kind of where like I'm at. Whereas like I agree, but then I don't agree, but I don't agree with the reasoning why people say some of the stuff that they say. I think a lot of the arguments that people make in terms of the skill base discussions is a lot of them are kind of weak, and they don't understand like what I think currently is a real problem that a lot of games are having right now.
Okay, so what do you think are... Okay, let's get started. What do you think are the main issues or main points of discussion then?
All right, so let me. So I do think in terms of like neutral skip, I do think that is part of the problem, but it's not like the big thing that people are making it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, people are skipping neutral and they're forcing me to guess, because guessing, as Lotus says, has always been in fighting games.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Street Fighter 4, right? In that game, there was dang near almost no guessing in certain situations because some characters had unblockable. Gin, he knocked you down. Guess what? You were dealing with an unblockable that was technically blockable, but humanly possible to block 1 frames. No, you're going to get hit, right? So for me, guessing isn't the problem. It's always been what I think the issue is right now is the fact that a lot of the stuff that you did to get the guessing in previous games is a lot easier now.
Mm-hmm.
And so stuff like neutral skip does come into factor where, yes, I'm getting in, but it's not the neutral skip itself. It's the fact that the combo that you're doing to get into the situation is a lot easier. So the execution barrier, that was the thing that was keeping a lot of the stuff at bay, even though it was kind of messed up. And so once they lower the execution barrier for a lot of the games, that's where a lot of the problems that people are having with the games have started to come.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not just that, but then you also have a lot of these games that have high damage. Like you're losing in 1 to 2 situations in a lot of the cases in some of these games. And so for a player, that could be pretty frustrating. It's like, well, I'm playing clean neutral, and then this person, whatever, decides to neutral skip or whatever. Okay, they got me on that combo. Now I'm guessing for my life. Do I DP? Do I do this or do I do this or whatever? Right? If you make the wrong decision on defense, then you're dead. And
But
so
sorry to interrupt, but do you
yeah,
feel as though that would be every case or is Strive specific? Because I do feel like what you're referring to is with Strive in mind. I don't feel as though this is the case for Street Fighter 6 or like
I
BB Tag. BB Tag, you have like maybe like four guesses. When it comes to DBFZ, you have give or take 2 to 3 hits per character, right? So that's like minimum
right.
6 hits. You know what I mean? So I feel like maybe perhaps you have Strive in mind. Do you?
Strive is one of the games, but I do think in Street Fighter 6 there are characters that are prevalent in doing that. And some of the characters are top tier. So like Luke is doing that. DJ is doing that. JP is doing that. And JP's that's a whole other issue. But when you have and Marissa's doing that. So when you have characters that are doing that, and like and they're higher up in the tier list, and so that's where people can then come in and say like, well, the skill level is not that high because it's kind of easier to do like the situations that lead to like the guessing as opposed to what it was in the past. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I think a lot, and it's not just that as well in terms of like the neutral skipping. It's also some of these characters, like the way their toolkit works is also a problem too. So for example, JP, his standing fierce, like you're not contesting that, right? It's very, very hard to whiff punish. So when you give characters like that stuff that they can just randomly do in neutral, that leads to situations to where you're pretty much guessing for your life, and that can come at any point, and you have no way of responding to it due to the fact of how they design the move. It to me is just it's just not good. I always look at it like this. I think when you have like strong tools that can lead to situations like that, I think there needs to be some degree of risk. So if a character could get 60% off something that they're doing, I should be able to at least do like 40 or 50% on a counter to what they're doing. So at least makes the risk reward worth it for me to even try to do something about it. A lot of cases, you're trying to do something about something that is heavily in favor of house. So basically, you're essentially just gambling and and hoping that it works out. And that's something that I don't want. I don't want to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. I feel as though while this is true, um, when it comes to playing the game, at least I feel like when you go about playing your neutral, it's put more importance on learning how to play neutral. And how I see neutral is that I see neutral as something that is very dynamic and not a static way of seeing it. So the way I've always seen neutral is that something your neutral depends or changes depending on which game you're playing, depending on which character you're playing, depending which character you're
Right.
fighting against, right?
Right. Right.
So I feel as though that if in the cases where when you're fighting somebody, you gotta learn how to play that type of neutral. Like for instance, I'm a Manon player. I need to learn how to play neutral against JP in Street Fighter 6. You know what I mean? Like, and
Right.
I feel like a lot of folks don't want to acknowledge the fact that like okay, it might have to change, and in the match in the cases where the matchup is not in your favor, it's going to be a little bit tougher, and you're going to either A, have to accept this, or um pick another character, right?
Sure.
I understand how you feel. I just feel like people would much rather like abandon or leave the game as opposed to like accept to what is. And I'm not saying you in particular.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
saying like, you know, a lot of people just like hop on Twitter, complain about the game, Perry, Luke Crouch Strong, JP Stand Fierce, JP Crouch Strong, all the juggle points JP has, you know, the list, you know what I mean? The list, you already know.
Right.
So how do you feel about that?
That's something I definitely do agree on. I like I said, I'm more of the side that I do accept it, and in fact, I do like a lot of the stuff in the game when it comes to having options like perfect parry, and you know, I do like making defense strong, but most people they can't accept that. Most people they can't accept like having to play different ways. They would rather just complain about what's ever in the game.
Mhm.
But for me, my biggest thing is there has to always be a consistent reward for being able to punish something or being able to counter something. So like an example like this, I would give like Jury has an anti-throw option, which I think is one of the best anti-throws in the game in terms of on the defensive end, where she can literally get 30, 40, 50, even 60%, right?
You're referring to
Depending on
the
if she
instant air
yeah,
JM?
yeah, it's in her JM, right? So she can do that. But the caveat is if the opponent chooses to meaty me, and depending on the character, they can get 60 or 70%, right?
Mhm.
So right there, that's a balance. So it's like creates this little mind game where I see they have level 3. Do they throw me? Or I have level 3, and if they throw me, I do jump medium punch, and I'm taking 60 or 70%. So a smart player would have that in their mind, right?
Mhm.
But when you get things like that kind of break the rules in terms of where they don't follow that logic. So a perfect example of that would be like JP's Amnesia. His does not follow that logic. So it's like there's risk involved in it, but at the same time, it's not as risky as if I'm doing like a jump medium punch or something, because it covers multiple options as opposed to just an option that's doing one. So it covers a throw and a strike.
Mhm.
And so then what that allows him to do is that allows him to get away with other things that other characters can't get away with. So such as being able to jump out of the corner and then going back into his neutral where you have to navigate the obstacle course. And so it's like you're playing a mini game once you're getting in, which is okay with me. I'm fine with that. But I shouldn't have to play another mini game when I get in. I in a mini game that's almost guaranteed for the house to pretty much win. And so that right there is like as I always said, that is the issue. I think that's the issue that I think most people don't even think about, is the fact that a lot of the stuff that you're complaining about, yeah, whatever, neutral skip, I have to play neutral differently or whatever. It doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. Where the risk reward for a lot of the stuff in the game just doesn't make sense. And it's very clear that they do have an understanding of this because they do it with certain characters, but then they don't do it with other characters. So what that makes me think is like they're purposely trying to create super characters and then purposely leaving other characters weaker in certain areas. And so that's where I've always been frustrated with a lot of the developers when they do stuff like that. It's like they clearly know what they're doing, right?
Mhm.
But then because they touch on it with other characters, but then and other characters they leave it they leave it like strong. And so it's like for me it's always have a consistent philosophy across the board. If stuff is gonna have high risk, then let's make it high risk, right? If stuff is gonna have low risk or medium to low risk and it's gonna give out high reward, let's just do it for everyone. I'm okay with that. So that's kind of where I stand. It's more so consistency, like developmental consistency.
Mhm.
That's always been the big thing for me.
And that's a very fair complaint, because they seem to be very flip floppy or wishy washy with it, where like some characters will just get like absolutely the world, and then other characters just don't get anything. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of a sucky feeling, to be fair. Like it's just like for instance, like I know Manon shouldn't have like extensive combos, but Lord have mercy, brother. Like we really don't have combos at all. Our juggle points expire super quick, and then you just look at like JP juggling them for like an hour, and you're like, bro, if I could get just a swig of that, just a touch of that, we would be in there. But like, no, it's button drivers, crouching strong, back fierce, medium spin. That's it. Oh, like the combos don't really get any really saucy. Even the punishes, they're just like either a command grab or you're going for like a back fierce punish counter combo, right? It's
Right.
not so. It's just like if we could make it a little bit more even across the board, and that is a fair complaint when it comes to development of the game. That is fair. So
Right. Yeah, because like I said, that's always where I land on it. It's like I accept the games for what they are. Like I understand that they're going to be they're going to allow for more accessibility because they want more people to play the game, and we should want that. We should want more people to play the game, and so having a situation to where more people can play the game is always good. But when you do stuff like that, just make sure that you're taking in consideration the fact that some of these characters are messed up, and so in order for you to compensate for that, you have to do things such as maybe like making the games to where like they're like 3 or 4 touches instead of being 2 touches, right? So that gives people the chance, and it also allows people to feel like they're not being cheated. And so I feel like a lot of players are feeling cheated because people are getting in and they're dying in 1 or 2 interactions, and so that leads them to rail about stuff that, like I said, is I guess is a problem, but it's not really a problem in the grand scheme. Like I said, I like drive rush. I like being able to just drive rush in. I've always been the type of player that has loved stuff to where you have options in neutral to play neutral a different way. I've always considered stuff like dive kicks being a part of neutral. So when Yun was like neutral jumping in 4, and then dive kicking short, doing short dive kicks, and then dive kicking to whiff punish your normals. I think stuff like that is cool, right? But where's not cool, it's I just dive kick. Oh, here's 60-70%, and there's nothing that you really could have done about it, right? So
well, except not dive kick.
That's yeah. Well, no, the opponent could have done about it, right?
Yeah.
Except just eat it, right? To where it's like super strong, and it's like, I got plus frame advantage. Now you're in another 50-50 situation. Now I'm about to, so now you have to guess again for another 60%, right? And so, and the combos easy to do. So I think if they fix that, right, like some of the especially some of the normals in the game, I think what they have already in terms of Street Fighter 6, I think it is a game that is very, very skill based. What they have at the base, but the problem is they have to kind of chop off some of the stuff to get to the actual base, to where it then becomes like your strategy, and then it becomes like the full mind games, because like this game has some insane mind games that when I just think about, like, it could potentially happen at a high level, and once everyone starts to figure this stuff out, man, it's just gonna be great. It's just gonna be good play, and good enjoyment for everyone. And so I think the quicker that we can weed out some of the stuff that people don't like, and I'm not talking about like people that people don't understand that they need to get rid of, because most people, they don't understand the problems. They just complain about whatever is relevant, right? I think once we weed that out, then, man, like this game is going to be very, very good, and it's almost there, and for it to be the first version and to where it comes out, to where there is an element of skill, it's just that it's hidden behind stuff that kind of break the logic of the game and what they're going for. Then I think we'll probably see less complaints, because it happened with 5, where people didn't like it how it started out, and then once they started adding a lot of stuff in the game, it made the game a lot more better and made the game flow a lot better.
I also feel as though, like, although um the game is in a fairly, it's a good spot for a vanilla game, right? It's in a
Yeah,
good spot for that, but I also feel like no matter what they end up adding, no matter what they end up changing, the NA scene is going to complain. And that is a very unfortunate inevitability that we're going to have to go through, is because no matter what they do to this game, no matter who's top tier, there's just gonna be a wave of like complaints, right? Like if they
yeah,
nerf Luke's crouching medium punch, they're gonna start complaining about suppressor. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
they're just going to find something to complain about, because there's always going to be something that they're not going to like about a game. And I think honestly that it hurts the game a lot. I think it does hurt the game, right?
the complaining.
Yeah.
So you actually think the complaining hurts the game?
I think it not only hurts the casual scene, it hurts the competitive scene. Because a
Mm,
lot of the folk that could be finding solutions and finding answers, they just kind of bandwagon with like the top players, and they're whining and complaining. Right? And then instead of like, okay, let
right.
me sit down, let's figure out some answers, whatever, do, they're just like, man, he was random. Man, Sway is cheap. You know, man, drive
Right.
rushes ain't fair. Man, perfect parry
Right.
is random.
Right.
Right? And
Right.
instead of like, let's find answers, let's pull up this skill, let's pull up our pants and deal with this issue like as you know, I don't want to say as men, but as grown people. You know what I mean? Well, even then, not all of us are grown like Paladins, like 16. But like, you know,
Yeah,
but like,
right,
you
right,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
let's deal with it. You know, instead of just being like, I well, the loss. Time to pull out the iPhone, boot up X. Let's complain, right? Because there, a lot of them
Right.
feel like if that's what the top players are doing, that means that's the highest this game can go. Do you feel as though the game has been, well, quote unquote, figured out, or this is the highest it can go, at least on this patch? Or do you feel like
For this
stuff can
patch,
still be like discovered, and there's still more tech to be learned?
um, I will say this. I'm gonna go back to what you said earlier when, and then I'll come back to this later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in terms of the complaining, I I've come of the mindset that yeah, it does suck, but I don't think it does as much damage as is being perceived. I come from Street Fighter Five. That was my main game, bro. The amount of complaining that was on that game, and the way that game came out, and for people to, yeah, there's still people that had complaints about it, but like by the end of the game, it was universally accepted that Five was a good game, to the point now where people are like, oh man, I wish I can go back to playing
Yeah.
Five. Right, right. And so I watched the narrative of that stuff change. So the complaints in the game, when people are complaining, I don't think it matters as much people think, because at the end of the day, if they keep improving on the game, which I think they're going to do, uh, it's going to end up to a game where yes, there's still going to be people complaining, but at the end of the day, no one's going to be like, well, this game isn't skillful, right? They're gonna have to acknowledge that, yo, this game has some skill, has some mind games behind it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that happens once they clean up a lot of the stuff. But I will say, in terms of where we're at right now, where Street Fighter 6, I think for a game that's been out for, how long has it been out? For a couple of months?
About, yeah, I'd say about half a year now, give or take, six,
Yeah,
seven
half a year.
months.
I I feel like it's been almost 2 years worth of of
I feel it. I feel it.
adaptation for this
I
game.
feel it.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, right? Because every time you turn around, it's there's something new, and I do think that the meta has shifted as opposed to the earlier part of the game. But I don't think much has changed. If well, I kind of do think, because some certain characters that were considered strong, they kind of fell off the wagon. That most people, they don't even put them in their top 5 now. So like Jury was considered strong early on, and she was like top 2, top 3. She's kind of slid out of most people's top 2s, top 3, and kind of went to like 6th or 7th or 8th. And other characters have risen, such as like Luke, Chun-Li. So I do think the meta has changed, but I think where we are right now, there is tech still to be discovered and still to be implemented in terms of like characters, but I don't think it'll make much of a difference to where the meta is going to shift. So I think we've kind of tapped out where I think the game is, as opposed to if we were to wait a couple more months after. I think the game is at this version right now where it's at. I think it's pretty much almost maxed out. We know who the top tiers are. We see them pretty heavily in Capcom Cup. We know the good combos to do. And now, granted, there's always more combos that people can learn. We know some of the strategies deal with some of the stuff. So JP, despite people complaining a lot about JP, that character has 3 representatives in Capcom Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very clear that people have found a way, despite that matchup. What I like to call it is like unstable. I think the character like has an unstable matchup because of amnesia. People still have found a way to be able to deal with some of the stuff that he presents on the table. And even Ken, I know Ken players like to joke that he's like 6th or 7th. I think people have started to figure out some stuff about Ken, but that still doesn't mean those characters aren't strong or that they slid. It's just that I think we've gotten better at dealing with them, and so I think now more players are able to get to doing some semblance of mind games, because at the end of the day, regardless of who you're looking at, and I try to watch a lot of Street Fighter 6. At the end of the day, it does look like a lot of players are just kind of flailing around, just because of the way the game is,
Mm-hmm.
and so it doesn't look pretty, but this is the game that this is where the game is going to be until they patch it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Or even till they release more characters, because I think a lot of characters right now, they cover a lot of the same territory in terms of how they're supposed to be played, right?
You're referring to
like
a little bit more of like the button drive rush, or sorry, low forward drive rush, or projectile or fireball low forward, or fireball drive rush. I mean, those things.
Those were kind of it, but like more so how they're played, right? So I think Knuckle has said this before, that if you didn't learn, I think it was Knuckle. I don't know. It might have been a different top player, but I'm just gonna say dude. If you don't use Jury's level 2, no, I know it was Big Bird. If you don't use Jury's level 2, then you're playing a worse version of Cammy. And as someone that plays Jury, I kind of agree, because they kind of do the same thing. They both knock you down and they strike throw you, right? Mm-hmm. They have similar damage output, and then their whole game plan is to strike throw you. But that's 90% of the cast. But how they do it specifically, like going from neutral to strike throw you, well, what Jury she has, fireball drivers, but whatever, right? But going from neutral to strike throwing you is almost pretty similar. And so a lot of characters do kind of function like that in this game with this base roster. And so until they add more characters, I think you're going to get a lot of the it just feels this is where the kind of the staleness comes from. It just feels the same because everyone's sort of kind of doing the same thing, but it just looks
Slightly different.
somewhat different, slightly different. DJ's still strike throwing you, but how he strike throws you is different from, like I said, how Cammy and Jury's doing it. At the end of the day, he's still, throw, you whiff, sway in the 50, but he's doing sway in the 60% damage. That's the only thing that changes. Ken's still doing the same thing. Oh, Dragon Lash, throw. Oh, you're in the corner. Throw. Up, you tech, stand fierce, and the shimmy, right?
I see.
Slightly less damage. Yeah.
I agree with you. But
yeah.
the other end of that, I kind of feel like that's what Street Fighter identity. No? Do you not feel that way? I don't feel as though the mix comes from left, right, or overhead lows. I think this game focuses primarily on strike throw.
I think that's more so a 5 and 6 thing.
Okay.
Because in 4, it wasn't more so a strike throw thing. 4 was a heavy set play game. And that's where it actually initially attracted me to Ibuki, was the fact that her set play was like when she knocked you down, she was, oh, here's kunai, 50-50 guess, right? And I think, I'm not sure about like third strike, but I'm not sure. But 4, it was more so a set play game. And 5 and 6, that's where they kind of transitioned to making the game more strike throw as opposed to set playing your opponent to death, because ironically, people didn't like set play. So they said it was scrubby, it was dumb. They hated Vortex, they hated unblockables, and so they removed that. So now people are like, well, the game is boring. Well, you removed all the cool stuff that characters could do, and and that made characters kind of stand out with their mix up. Because the Akuma Vortex was different than a Ibuki Vortex in Fire. You were getting mixed, but you were getting mixed differently. So you had to learn how to deal with those setups differently, right? Gen's Vortex was different than like those characters' Vortex. So it was the characters were doing the same thing in terms of functionality, like set play, but then you also had characters like fundamentally sound, like Ryu. Ryu was like the fundamentally sound, and then you had Evil Ryu, who was almost similarly fundamentally sound, but he had higher damage, right? So characters had uniqueness to them when it came to where you could classify them as in Street Fighter 4. In 5, it's now in 6, but towards the end, more characters kind of were doing different things because they added more characters and they added more unique ways characters could do stuff. And so that's why I say that like they need to add more characters, because where it is right now, and the characters need to be completely unique, right? Aki was a step in the right direction with what she does. I think from the cast, she's a completely different character than most. She feels different. She doesn't feel like a base roster character. I feel like almost a lot of the base roster just feels the same, and they cover the same space. I'm hoping Ed changes that as well too. Even Rashid feels a little bit different too, because he has some cool stuff. And I'm hoping Akuma changes that, right? And so once they start adding more characters, I think it will be a lot better. But right where we are right now, the meta set is not going to change. We're all going to be doing the same thing until they decide to patch the game, and then they add more characters. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, so on the topic of characters, I feel as though they kind of fumbled the bag. Do you agree or disagree? Let me first add a little bit more context to that.
Okay.
I feel as though when it comes to the characters that they released, they didn't drop the most interesting of it. You know, I feel like Aki is a wonderful addition to the roster. I feel that she possibly could have been on the further end. I think it would have been a wiser start to possibly start with a character more well known, a character that will keep things a little bit more fresher than Rashid and Aki. And while those picks there's nothing wrong with those picks, I feel like their placement while choosing them was not the best. Possibly it would be good to bring back a couple of old faces, possibly some faces from like 4 titles, like Street Fighter 4. I think that would have been possibly a better avenue to go, and as well as bringing Akuma a little bit closer to the forefront of those beginner characters. I think him being the last, he's the last, right? Because there's only 4.
Yeah. So Akuma's the last.
Yeah. So making him the last of season 1, I don't personally think that may have been the wisest of choice. What do you think, though?
Honestly, I kind of agree. I think the base roster, people aren't gonna like this. I've always said this. is trash, right? And the reason why it's trash is because Capcom is stuck in Street Fighter 2. I'm sorry. Blanca, as much as people like him, I don't think he should ever be back in the game. Honda, I don't think he should ever be back in the game.
Oh, okay.
Also, I don't think
you don't
he
think
should
Dolphin
ever be
should be
back
in the game?
No.
Oh, okay.
I feel like even if they were to go back to Street Fighter 2, where's the characters that we haven't seen? Where's Fei Long? Why is he in the game? Right? Why could he be in the game for one of those characters, right? Those characters, I think they have their fan base, but no one's gonna be like, wow, dang, Honda and Blanca's in the game. That's super sick. They'll be like, yeah, they're there. They're the World Warriors. Okay, it's whatever, right? I feel like they could have added more bangers to the roster. I think six's starting roster was not six's, 5's starting roster was a little bit better because you had characters that people hadn't seen in a while. Bro, they tossed out Mika. What, Mika? We haven't seen Mika since Alpha. I love Mika. Oh, Birdie? We hadn't seen Birdie since Alpha. I love
But
Birdie.
I don't know if we can say that, 5 starting roster is better than 6. I don't know if you can say that with your whole chest. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't.
I mean, I'm saying it like picks and like character wise, like Karen.
Okay,
Bro, you know how many people were asking for Karen and they put her in a game? You know how many characters people are asking for C Viper and they still haven't put her in the game? You're telling me that they couldn't put her in the roster at the base roster? You telling me they couldn't put I get it, there's certain characters that you want to keep for DLC. That's fine, right? You telling me that they couldn't put let's see, who else? Who would be a good starting roster that you could put out that people would be like, oh dang, this is nice. A character that we hadn't seen in a while. I don't know, like Sodom, right? Bro, those Sodom in the game, right? He could have been a base character. We hadn't seen him in a while. People been asking for him. Throw him in the game. There's plenty of characters that Makoto could have. Why are there no third strike characters in this game?
I don't know.
That makes no sense.
That part I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the game is after third strike, but you're still stuck in Street Fighter 2. Most of those characters could have been placed with third strike characters, and people would have been happy. You could have tossed in Dudley. You could have tossed in Makoto. You could have tossed in. You could have tossed in Ibuki, man. Please toss in Ibuki. Well, yeah, those characters. You could have put those in to where it would have hit a little bit different, and then not only that, some of those characters have different play styles, right? And so it would have been cool to see like a Makoto in the base roster. I know they can't put Akuma. They could put Akuma in the base roster, but you got to have him as DLC, right?
So because they gotta make money.
So,
they gotta make money.
Yeah, they gotta make money. So I could forgive them for not putting Akuma in the base roster, right? So as long as he's at least in that first year season pass, Akuma always has to be at the first year of the season pass if you're not gonna make him a if you're not gonna make him a base roster character, which I think they made him a base roster in 4, but then 5 they added him. But like they could have, those third strike characters should have been in the game. And then I also think Aki should have been in the game as well from the very beginning too. I think she could have placed a different character. Like I don't know, like let's see who.
You want to hear my
Jamie's
my hot
okay.
take? Want to hear my hot take?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Guile should never exist. Guile is a character that should never exist. I
Really?
like. I'm not gonna lie. Like they set up Guile to be the character. Like you really have to. I can't. Okay. So the reason why I feel this way is because like let's look at like his earlier versions, right? His earliest like release. Like my man's is doing the 2 moves. But here's the thing, like to counter the move, you gotta jump into it. But if you jump into it, get anti-aired. And it's you don't even really gotta think about the anti-air either. It's just charge and it's free. And it just feels to me that like if you're gonna make a zoning character, at least make a character that feels like it has weaknesses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least in the earlier versions, it didn't feel like I had options. It felt like I just like you just have to prey on character or the opponent's weaknesses and hopefully you get in and run your offense. That's how it always felt to me though. You know?
Well, see, I kind of agree with that. I think the problem began when in Street Fighter V they decided to make Guile an offensive character, like where he was dashing in your face, plus frames, back throwing you, and then back throwing you again, and then back throwing you again, and then pressuring you with plus and on block sonic booms. He's not doing that in this game, but then they decided, hey, fireball, hey, let's give him fireball drive rush, right? or sonic blade, and you can drive rush behind it and get in and pressure you. I don't think Guile as a character should be doing stuff like that.
No. You shouldn't.
I think that's where that's where they messed up at, is they gave him stuff like that. He should be, if he's gonna be zoning, right? He should be sonic boom, flash kick, and he should have weaknesses. But in this game, it feels like he has, just like similar to earlier portions of 5. It just seems like he has no weaknesses because
that's the thing, right?
He can go for he can go from offense to defense and force you to guess. Like, what world is it okay for a character to have that hard of a fireball for you to deal with, and then he can get it at any point and that he wants to? That makes no sense. So I will agree
like,
that
it's just
that Guile probably shouldn't exist in a modern fighting game anymore, because they keep doing stuff to just make him weird. Like, he doesn't need to be doing like all the stuff that he's doing. So I can agree that maybe Guile should just sit this one out. Maybe stop putting him in the game.
Like, why does he have a decent drive rush? Why? And like this game, some of these things in this game, man. Okay.
Like you said, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So back to characters. So in your version of season 1, what would you have liked to see? Also, would you have liked to see Balrog back there? Some people in my chat talking about Balrog instead of Ed.
Okay, so in my version of season 1, how many new characters do we have?
Let's see. We got Kim, Marissa, Lily, JP, Aki. Or are we talking starting roster?
Yeah, we're just talking starting roster.
So let's see. 1, 2, 3.
DLC.
Well, this whole row here, 4, 5. 5. Yes.
5.
5. Oh,
so 5 new characters.
Jamie's 6.
6 new characters out of an 18 character roster. I don't like.
Really?
I think there should be 4 new characters, right? Because then if you're adding, well, technically Luke would be considered a new character. I was just
about to ask you that question.
So Luke would officially be considered a new character, but they just put him in 5.
Yeah, to hold us down.
New face. So he's a new character too. So 7 new characters out of an 18 character roster, I think is kind of a bad idea. I think there should maybe be 4 at the most, right? 4 new characters, And then with this game taking place after Third Strike, so that leaves what? That leaves three slots that you could have added for Third Strike characters. Yeah, you could have put Third Strike characters in the game. I think you could have slot those characters in, like Makoto, Dudley, and I don't know, heck, maybe even a Hugo.
Oh no,
Right?
no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. I want to play Hugo. Yeah.
Or maybe even Alex. I don't know.
Like,
But
yeah.
but they could have put in. They could have put those characters in because at the end of the day, most of the new characters are cool, but I think most people they don't want new characters. They want their own characters.
Well, that's the thing
If
with
you-
such a long running
Yeah.
franchise, right?
Yeah,
They've made
yeah.
so many characters, it's hard to implement them without people wanting the old stuff.
Yeah, it's like most people want the old stuff back, and I don't blame them. Like we have over a rich history of characters. At this point, I don't think you should be adding new characters like that. Like 7, 8 new characters in the game, and then you're probably going to add more for DLC.
Mm-hmm.
And those are slots that because I don't even think like you said I don't think it should have been DLC. But that's another new character. That's 8 new characters in the first month of a game. And we've been asking for Sea Viper for years. We've been asking for all these Makoto for years, Dudley for years. And you telling me that you couldn't at least throw us a bone? You gave us the SF2 characters. And like I said, in 5, they at least did something with the characters we've been asking for years. I don't think we'll ever see Karen again, but
You don't think
the
so?
fact that
I
they
think she's
put
gonna
Karen-
be DLC, season 2 DLC.
I don't know. It was a very long time before we saw her. I don't think we're gonna see her again. I don't think we're gonna see Mika again for a while.
I'm okay with that.
So those characters that people have been asking for, why did you have to add more new characters?
I mean, look at Tekken 8 base roster of 30 plus. Capcom's not gonna do that. Capcom won't do that.
Capcom's definitely not going to do a 30+ roster character. I think Tekken does have some heat with their roster. But that's 30 characters, right?
No Lucky Chloe, no bye,
18
bro. Back it up.
Yeah. But having the almost dang near half of the roster, your base roster, be new characters, and then I'll be honest, some of those new characters just aren't that interesting. It is what it is.
Marissa's not interesting.
And
You can't say Manon. You're talking with me. You can't say Manon side. You have to say.
I mean, I did play Manon.
It's fun. Marissa's not interesting to me. I think Jamie's mad cool. Great addition.
Yeah, no, but Jamie's cool.
Luke is.
I'm not a fan of Lily. I'm not a fan of Marissa either. I'm also not a fan of. But they got heavy, but I'm not a fan of Kimberly either. I'm just sorry.
Honestly,
I'm just not a fan of the
if
character.
Ed played more like Rog, I'd have less of a beef with him. We don't even know why we play yet. I mean, he's not gonna play like Rog, but like,
yeah. I think he might have some Rog stuff.
6 takes place. Wait, 6 takes place after 5, or 6 takes place after Third Strike?
6 says after 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it should have had all the 5 characters. Oh, I see. Yeah, but again, money, bro. We gotta make sure, chat, that we're considering money and the player wants, right? Because we can't be dropping all the goodies that will get you money too quickly. You can't drop your load too quickly, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like Akuma is a must, but you know that you gotta drizzle that in. They went a little OD in 5 by making Guile a DLC character. That's a little bit OD. I'm not gonna lie.
They said put him in the game, but he DLC because they did it because guess what? They had characters that people actually cared about and be in the base roster.
You always need
Gal being DLC.
You always need new characters, flash things with new versions of the games, especially with how different the plays from what I've seen. Road Warriors Original 8 are always going to be game. No, yeah, I guess. I think
No, I think we should just move past the World Warriors. I'm sorry. You
agree.
just toss in Ryu, Ken, and Chun Li and Cammy, call it a day. The rest of the 8, they don't need to come back. The rest of the 4, they don't need to come back.
Agreed.
We just need to move past Street Fighter 2.
And I think Ryu's this might be his last game. You know what I mean? Or at least no, he'll still probably be in the game, but it'll be following Luke, right?
Yeah. So I think you just toss in Ryu and Ken like you did in Ryu, Ken, and Chun Li like you did in Third Strike. Right? You put them in, and then you added the other characters that we've been asking for, or like I said, even Fei Long, man, bring him back.
I don't know if that's
like, we've been asking for him for the longest. I don't think he ever coming back, but yeah, they could have put him in the game.
Yeah.
DJ, I'm okay with being in the game because he had been in since 4. That's fine. So I don't mind DJ being in the game. Street Fighter 2 character, it's whatever, right? He hadn't been in the game in a while.
I think,
but
that a lot of the I really want some of the interesting 4 cast members should come back. What was his name again? I keep forgetting his name. The dude, I think it's like dude with the staff.
About
Rolento, that's what it was. Yeah. He should come back. The DiCaprio, I think, might be a good addition as well. I think those are very interesting characters. I would
like to see honestly, I would like to see well, he came back in 5, but I would like to see Evil Ryu come back but he'll never come back because the Sasune Hado is completely gone. But like Evil Ryu, like he was in 4, bro, that character was sick. Or even Oni. I would like to see those characters come back. Like I said, I would like to see 4 characters come back. So like Rolento, Poison is she's for sure gonna be back
at some point.
She's coming back. So yeah, Poison's gonna come back. So you don't have to worry about that. Helena.
I don't think people want that one. I don't think
people want that because of healing.
Stop it. There's a Fei Long.
I think
in fighters.
Yeah.
Oh, Fei Long is the most boring character in all video games. Damn.
I mean, I agree. Fei Long is boring, but the fact is, people been asking for him, so throw him in the game. He ain't been in the game in a minute. Throw him in the game. It's like having It's like people asking for martial law and Tekken, and they're not putting him in the game.
I don't. Yeah.
Right.
Law should definitely be in everything.
Yeah.
Although I find him mad
cool,
I just never play him. I just.
Like Fei Long is not for me. I don't like Fei Long like that. It's just one of those things to where like you throw a bone to the fans, and then like I said, some of the new characters they could have been cut for even new characters that are existing in the Street Fighter universe. So someone mentioned Mike Hacker. Hacker could have been in the game. He could have been a new character, like a guest new character, right? You could have brought in more rival school characters.
Sure.
So there was stuff that they could have done to add new characters that didn't have to involve creating whole new characters. Right?
I think Lucia and Akira definitely would have been great addition. Where is Sakura? I don't know why Sakura never gets put in initially, bro. Let her be in the game when it starts. Bro.
Yeah. Sakura should.
I don't know what's
she's gonna be DLC. Yeah,
I really
Sakura
hope Lucia comes
gonna
back.
Be DLC.
Though. First character season 2, Rufus. Hagar Cody, no thank you.
Rufus, I don't think he ever coming back. Nah, he gone. Yeah, because it's weird though. There's like the game is in Metro City, but where are the Metro City characters at? Right?
Yeah.
You leaned into this, right? But no Guy, no Cody,
no Mad Gear characters or Final Fight characters.
No
No one wants
Hagar? No
Dan, bro.
Lucia?
No one wants Dan. I love his theme, but no one wants him. No one wants him. Okay, no one wants him.
That's one of those characters that people ask for, but nobody plays.
Like, who do we? Ain't nobody would be asking for Dan, bro.
Bro, that hey, you'll be surprised. Them damn bad boys be coming out. So I'm not opposed to Dan being in the game.
What's weird is that they mentioned him in the World Tour. Wouldn't know I didn't play it.
Oh, you talking about Dan?
No, not Dan. The Mad Gear characters or
Yeah.
Final Fight, probably those.
Okay, yeah. Those characters, they should have been in the game. I don't understand why they weren't in the game.
If they bring back Dudley, I don't think we want Dudley in this game. He might be very cool though. I won't knock it. I feel like I won't find a character for like another year or so. I think I'm gonna be on Manon for a while.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat where I'm in a character crisis until like they at least add a character that I might be interested in. So right now it's probably Jury. Then I guess after this season I might look at Chun. But until they add like cooler characters in the game, and they got some cool stuff, but it's just not for like these characters just aren't for me. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm just
making do with the cast.
Yeah. Just making do with the cast. And it was like that in 5 too until they put Ibuki in the game.
Oh, so you didn't have to wait too long.
It's, yeah, because I was initially gonna play her, and I wanted to play her in 4 because like I was saying earlier, like her mix-up game was just too good. I just want to touch somebody and then make them guess. That's and then do like optimal stuff off of that, right? And then they add, and I was like, if she's in 5, I'm gonna play her in 5. They're like, oh, she's in season 1 and 5. Bet. Oh, she's not that good. I'm still playing Nash. Okay, they can nerf Nash. Now I can fully commit to Ibuki.
I swear Nash started out terrible though.
No, Nash was very good at the beginning of the game. That's mostly because you had like 8 frames of lag.
Yeah, I started around
yeah.
like the latter half of season 5.
Yeah, no. This is why I would say no. People are comparing this game to the end of 5, and it's fair to say that I think it's fair to say that 5 at the end of the game was a better version of it. Was a better game. It's because it had more time, more years, more. Yeah, right. But 5 at the beginning compared to this game, I would take season 1 of Street Fighter 6 over season 1 of Street Fighter 5 any day. I think it's just a better game.
Free. Just like
Yeah, it's easily a better, even better. I think even better than season up until season 3. I think season 3. This game is better than season 3 of Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, season 3 was a little bit mid.
Yeah.
But to be fair, that's around when I started, so I didn't have like a solid grasp on it. So I'll defer to you on that one.
Yeah, I think this game is, even though season 3 did some things to the game where it made it a lot better, such as lowering the input lag, so it became like 6 frames, and then adding more characters and whatnot, adding the 2 V triggers now.
Oh yeah, that was a good stuff.
Yeah, I just think where the game was, it was still in a pretty rough spot because you had characters that were just completely ridiculous, like Rashid. Abigail was ridiculous before they nerfed him. Ibuki was ridiculous, and I loved it. But yeah. So I would say season 4 or season 5. Well, season 4.5, because season 4 got ruined when they added Seth in the game. And that was Oh, bro, when they added that character to the game, that was. Yeah, later portion of 5, I will accept being a better game than it is right now in 6. But those first 3-4 years and of 5, I think 6 trumps those, and I think that's where a lot of people are missing when it comes to like these type of discussions. Is like they're comparing a polished game to a game that's still in its infancy. But if you re- remove like the blinders and take a step back, you will see that the game that we have right now isn't as bad as people make it out to be. Yeah, there's some stuff in it that could be cleaned up, but it's still a lot better than what we initially had before. And hopefully they keep adding to it and keep doing things that will make it more enjoyable for people and to make it to where people don't feel like it's like boring.
Yeah,
Like because right now I feel like the even with tournaments now, they're just not exciting.
not at all, bro. It's
Yeah.
hard to keep up with like the things that is happening
Yeah.
because it's just so unentertaining.
Yeah, it's unentertaining. Number one is the biggest reason is the lack of offline events, right?
Mhm.
And then number two is the meta, what the characters are right now. CPT Japan, what, 4? It was like 4 Lukes?
Yeah, I think
Or 2 in top 8 or 2. It was it didn't matter anyway because there's 2 Lukes in winners and winners and finals, right? So that didn't matter anyway. 2 Lukes in at least the top 3. And then you had 2 Cammies. The characters that people are like, oh dang. Yep, here comes the characters that we know. And then the one guy that was playing a different character in Kimberly, guess what? The minute he saw some sort of resistant, he switched to JP.
Gotta do it.
And so, yeah, he said, I'm trying to win the Millie, and I don't blame him. So I'm gonna go to JP. I play Kimberly when I can go to JP. And so, I think they need to do like maybe add some offline events and then get some new characters in the game and then there's some of this stuff to where more people would be interested in playing more characters and give more characters unique stuff. I did have an idea for I had a couple ideas from some non buffs. I think she should be able to combo her low forward into our low forward on counter hit, like into like stand light kick. I think that would be
She
cool.
can. On counter her, she can.
No, it's not enough frame advantage. It's like +4 on hit, but I'm talking in the stand light kick.
Oh. Sorry,
Yeah,
on punish
yeah,
counter it
yeah.
does. On
Punish counter she can. Yeah, she should be able to do that naturally.
And I also feel like if we did light kick into the low special move, that should be
Yeah.
a natural combo. But unfortunately, as
Yeah, that would be cool too.
oh,
Because I've been playing her a bit, and I've been doing my rank up with her. Because I played her when she first came out. I was like, yeah, I can't play this character anymore. She kind of garbage. So I'm going to jury. I tried playing her, and I got mad because I couldn't just stop people from not wanting to do what I want them to do. Right? They kept jumping. I'm like, stop jumping. I keep comboing you, but you keep jumping for a command throw. It's like I'm not even at level 5 and you're already jumping. Dang. And so I got tired of trying to condition people that were unconditionable. So I just said, I'll just play jury, right? But yeah, I think she needs some slight buffs. That would go.
I think
go a
that
long way.
light kick buff is pretty important. I also feel like let me see, what are some of my gripes? Her level 2 should have a section property. So like,
Yeah.
you know how there'll be some special cases or weird cases where like the level 2, the first hit will hit, but then it won't bring them in, and then they'll just kind of float in the air.
Yeah.
You'll whiff, and then they'll recover and punish you for it, right? Those
Right,
situations need
yeah.
to be cleared up for sure. Then there are some instances in the corner where if they jump at you at a certain angle, they'll just go. Oh, I just shut it on stream. It'll just go over. Like you'll do level 2, which is the anti-air super, and then it just well, I did the right thing and I died for it. Well, guess smile. Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Yeah.
if it had like a section, number 1, it should have like a 180 because I'm saying what. But like number 2, it should have a section property so that if it hits at tip range, it doesn't have this weird issue. What else did I find a little bit of jarring? If I wanted to be crazy, sweep safe, but I know.
Sweep safe.
Okay, but at the very least, maybe make like the quarter circle back medium kick safe, or at least
Yeah.
a little bit safer, so that it'll be a little bit
Yeah.
easier to like throw it out a little bit further out. I don't know. There's not really much. Oh, and spin. Spin needs help.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I do have something for that I want to ask you. This when I'm at right now where I'm at, I don't think I think a lot of the lower tier characters they just need like smaller buffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe the top tiers, they definitely need like some slight nerfs, right? But like, how do you feel about like the power between like the low tiers and the high tiers in this game, like right now?
Like the disparity between them.
Yeah, the disparity.
Okay. When I think about they're not too far away. It just feels as though when I'm fighting with a lower tier character, there's just things that I can't do because the way the character plays the system mechanics isn't great, right? So I feel
Yeah,
it's like
right.
the slightest of tweaks to making them a little bit closer to everybody else. But then the argument starts to become like, oh, is the game homogenized? Does everyone have the same drive rush speed? Is it really fun or whatever have you, right? If everyone's just doing the same thing. But at the same time, you gotta consider the lower tier characters need help in the way of system mechanics for this game specifically, because all the other characters they play Street Fighter 6 through the system mechanics more so than their move list. You feel what I'm saying, or
Uh, for me, I I would kind of I don't know. It's like I agree, but then I don't fully agree,
Mhm.
right? Because I think I think what it is the mechanics are fine. It's just that the mechanics enable certain characters, right?
Mhm.
So I think like with JP, the mechanics enable him and to like do extra stuff, and because of the mechanics, and so I wouldn't. I feel like more so the characters are more of an issue than it comes to the system mechanics. I think the mechanics are well thought out, and they're in terms of giving characters different driver speeds and whatnot. I think what they did was pretty good. I just think it's more so that certain characters exist. The certain characters have naturally good tools, but then when you added the strong system mechanics to those tools, it becomes like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Are the mechanics an enabler, or the characters uh through the mechanics an enabler? So it's like it's weird. I get what you're saying, and I would kind of be on there, but I think more so that the characters are the biggest enabler, and it's just that the mechanics just enhance them. It's just like taking steroids. So they're already jacked, but then you juice them up, they become like super jacked. And so
Well, I mean, so my
uh,
counter argument to what you've said is if we remove the system mechanics, i.e., drive rush, do you think these characters would be as oppressive as they are?
uh some characters would lose certain things, but certain characters, like I think characters like Jury would kind of fall off due to the fact that DJ would kind of fall off too. Characters like Gao would have more of a standardized game plan, like what he's used to, instead of being. I think it would alleviate some of the oppression,
Mhm.
but there's just certain characters that even if you did that, they would escape. So JP is the biggest offender of that.
Really,
Yeah,
you think
I think.
JP is still really strong without? I mean, granted,
Mhm.
is Stan
Yep.
Fierce still there? Crouch Strong
Yeah,
still there?
because of the
Yeah.
Stan Fierce, the strong, the zoning and amnesia.
Mm.
Even the drive rush is just whatever, right? But then you have all that, and then you add drive rush to it, and crouching medium punch. So he does drive rush, crouching medium punch, one of the most uncheckable things in the game because of the way the hurricanes work. And so you do that. Ken doesn't matter. Dragon Lash, he's still gonna get it, throw loop you to death, right?
Mhm.
The drive rush, it's whatever. Luke still gonna he could do like charge flash knuckle, get it, and still press you with crouching strong. So it wouldn't change too much what they're doing. Like some of the top tiers, but some of the characters would get hurt. And but the characters that are already oppressing you would still be oppressing you,
Mhm.
but it would just be differently. I think Guy will still be oppressive too, because he would just be sonic booming. He would just be doing it in his traditional way, sonic boom, and flash kicking. And then he would still have sonic blade. So even if he can't drive rush behind it, he can dash up behind it.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I say that.
And so, so I don't know why they gave that to him, but hey, we're here, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I say the mechanics are enablers. Some for the top tiers.
Mhm.
Like when you just look at their toolkit, it just doesn't make sense. It's like, why would you put a character like that in this game? Like, it just doesn't make sense why this character has this. And it's very clear that you know what you're doing because certain characters have this, right? But then that character has like this. This is game breaking. And then you add in the mechanics, you add in low forward drive rush. They're getting in and they can do what they do. And so I would look at toning down the mechanics. Not toning down the mechanics. I'll look at the characters and first, and then maybe the mechanics. Because I think the drive economy is fine. I think this might sound controversial, but I believe drive rush is not drive rush. Drive reversal is actually fine. Like and the reason why I say that is it goes back to the whole philosophy. I think in terms of I think defense is just as strong as offense, and I think if you make drive reversal faster or unsafe, or safe, right? I think it would completely mess up the game where it is right now. Right now, I think outside of like JP, characters' defense is on par with their offense because you can make someone guess on defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because you can do that, having a thing to where they do low forward drive rush and you just instantly blow them back, they get knocked back, and then you could still make them guess on your defense. And then not only that, if you're in the corner, you get a meaty situation. I think would be just way too strong. I think we then would be complaining about defense, and that would be overpowered.
Which we already are still complaining about.
Yeah, we're already complaining about defense. But if they make drive reversal faster, everyone's like, well, they should make drive reversal faster to beat out low forward in the drive rush because I don't like low forward in the drive rush. Well, I'm not a fan of low forward in the drive rush either, but I understand that if they make drive reversal faster, I'm not a fan of drive reversal because the game is already messed up on defense. You're already guessing. I'm at the point now where if I'm playing someone, bro, I don't even want to meet them.
Really?
I'll let you get up. Let's go back. Yeah. If the game is played properly, right? And I think PR Barwick tweeted this out. He was like, he stopped pressuring people. I think like 60 or 50% of the time because it would get him killed. So now he would let people get up, and then that has led to a more increase in win rate. that's where I think the stabilization comes in the game. It's the defense. The defense is what makes the game stable
I agree.
because it's already strong. People aren't exploring how strong defense is. Every character in this game has a way to beat throw loop. The thing that people complain about the most, every character in this game has a way to beat throw loop. It's just how you do it. Now, some characters get higher reward off it than most, but every character can beat throw loop. Doesn't matter who you are. You're a grappler.
Back that.
No, not back. You can do backdash, but the biggest reward that you would get is doing the bro. What is the instant jump command throw? Because that's the tech that Hibiki does with Lily.
Oh, that OS. Yeah.
You do that, right? And so you're they're trying to throw loop you. Well, dang, what they eat about 30 or 40% on a punish counter command throw, right? Chun-Li into their legs, you're eating 40-50%, right? Right, Jury 40-50%. Cammy Tiger Knee dive kick, you're eating 40-50%. It's just that people, they don't like to gamble. This game forces you to gamble. Once you understand that you can gamble on your opponent's wake up, then it will make the game stable. Right? That's where the instability comes. That's where the stability comes from. Is you have to be willing to gamble on your wake up. You have to.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you accept that and understand that, then you can become a better player in this game, and then you can become more consistent. But players, they don't want to hear that, right? They would much rather complain about perfect parry. Well, just perfect parry them back. You do the same thing to it, right?
Yeah.
They would much rather complain that oh, I'm getting throw looped to death. Well, if they're throw looping me, you know what I'm doing? Tough luck, bro. Jump medium punch, and now I'm doing jump medium punch to level 2, and corner carrying them and making them get some safe jump with Jury. Hey, you shouldn't have thrown me. You should have been paying attention, right?
So,
like why you like I'm gonna make this as uncomfortable for me as it is for you, right?
that's it. Like, you're
so
gonna
now-
have to reconsider how you go about offense because you want to make sure you are uncomfortable.
Yeah, bro. When I started doing like stuff like that and understanding that, bro, it makes the game so much. It makes it so much funner because there's, like I said, there's mind games behind it, right? And so once you add all that, the defense is super strong. And so then if you were to make the drive reversal faster, that throws off the whole balance of offense versus defense. The game would be way too defensive at that point. I think there needs to be a little bit of like offensiveness to the game because it makes it a little bit more exciting, right? And so that's where I stand. I know it's controversial. This is very controversial, but once you understand the game and how it's supposed to be played, then you're like, okay, right? Even in, like you said, backdash is an option too,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's a universal option that people can do is backdash, or they can just jump out of the corner. But then once you started adding those character specific options that blow people up,
Oh yeah.
and then then they're like, oh, I gotta strike you now. Then you perfect parry them. Good luck. GG's. Stop pressuring me. Yeah. Yeah, shake my hand, bro.
You thought this offense was free? Get that ass banned.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
That's one thing I do like about this game. Offense isn't as free as people think it is. It's not. It's just not. It really isn't. And that's what can make it but people think it is, but it's not. There's a lot of options you can do to stop a lot of the stuff in the game. And so they need to get that in their head. The game will be a lot better place. But yeah, don't buff drive reversal. I think it would be the worst thing they could possibly do. It would make the game worse. I'm sorry. Like I think it would just make the game worse.
All right, homie. I'm gonna let you go. I gotta do a couple more free coaching sessions on my end.
Okay, yeah.
Appreciate your time today, though, man. Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you don't know who this is, I'm on streamer mode, which on me. This is Narukami 2E. So guys, please check him out. He makes a lot of good fighting game content. You'll definitely get a kick out of him watching his content. Please check it out. Anything you want to say? Last things you want to say?
I mean, you pretty much covered. I mean,
Okay, all right.
I'm all well, like yeah. Just come. I do stream as well on YouTube too. Like if you ever have any questions, I'm more than willing to answer questions. I've been playing Street Fighter for a while, since 5, and so I've also been competing in the game heavily. Towards the end of 5, that's where I kind of got to the like a higher level, and so it's not like and it and where I could compete with most of the players that you would see today. So like like the Minas and the Cabas and whatnot. 6, I'm not there yet, but I'm trying to get there. But I still know enough to be able to help you. So if you guys want to come through and like say Nosa's not streamer or whatever, you guys need some help, come through. I'm always more than willing to help people get better at the game, because I think, like I said, I think this game is sick. I think it's a cool game. I think a lot of the complaints are misguided for people, and I just kind of wanted to, just say, hey, yeah, this is a fun game, man. This is a cool game, and it's a dope game, and I want more people to play it, and I want more people to understand like what it could be, right? And so, yeah, I'm more than willing to help. If you're a 6 player, you want to get better, I don't have a Discord, but I am a part of a Discord where we have a whole system to where you can be matched up with players of similar skill level. We test you. We give you like belts. It's called EX Dojo. I'm a part of that of the team like for EX Dojo.
In-game, or rather, like outside of the game, like MR system or something like that, right?
Yeah, outside of the game, MR. It's a very active Discord. You can always get games in there. So anytime you ask anyone, and there's someone always in there. Chat's always active. So that's when I'm not like streaming or making content. I'm in there playing, getting games, talking and chilling, hanging out with people. So if you want to level up, we offer coaching there too as well. We like and so that's another alternative. But we also have a lot of people that are very, very smart. We have a lot of connections with a lot of top players too. So we have some exciting stuff that is about to come out of there. So if you want to be a part of that, let me know and I can get you a link to the Discord.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, broski.
So that goes for anyone. Yeah.
Appreciate you, bro. We'll talk soon.
All right. Appreciate the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate you guys your stream hanging out. And yeah, I'm gonna go do some streaming myself. Hop on and play some Street Fighter.
For sure.
But I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.
Good night.
All right, you too.
Alrighty, straight. There we go. I was on some podcast type beat. You feel me? I was pretty good. I like that. By the way, if you're not in the Discord, plug the Discord, baby. Yes, sir. That was good. I like that. With that being said, I already know what time it is. Let's get a couple in before GF calls me. Music on. Okay? Let's get the free coaching session. I want to do at least 2 or 3 of them joints. Let's get it popping. Where my chair? Boom. Where my giveaway bot at? Boom. Create that. Boom. So, if you guys want to do free coaching for the next 10 minutes, it'll be up. The prize is free coaching. Okay? All you gotta do is press the emoji below. You already know what time it is. Boom. Hey, all you gotta do is press this thing right here and you'll be entered in. That's it. Simple as that. Once again, big shout out to Narakami for popping out and talking with us on the stream. So, on the topic of characters y'all want to see, what characters would you guys like to see in season 2? We already know what we're getting in season 1, but when it comes to season 2, what do you guys want? Uh, nah. Nah, say it ain't so that I'm muted. I was not muted. Nah, 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 nah. That'd be actually the abyss right there. That is the abyss right there. You're muted. Run the set. Wait a minute. Hey, hold on. If you won't give me run the set energy, membership up, buddy. Huh? Membership up. The membership is live. Huh? Talking about. Alright, let's see who won. Oh, Weeaboo, you won? Nice. Nice. Okay, let's see what you have been up to. I definitely got like 2 videos out of today's. Is it just Weeaboo? Is it Weeaboo YT? What is the situation there? What's your CFN again? The last 10 minutes I've been mute. I mean, I thought that it was like I was talking during the set, right? And I thought it was just like, people just walking out with a woody woo, like it is what it is. But I guess it was just me fumbling the bag. I need to get a new wire for this mic. I need a new wire. Or you guys can fund me for a new mic. You know what I'm saying? Alright. Weeaboo, what's your thing, bro? Is bees? Okay, I got you. Bro, it took mad long. What character you playing? Depending on what character. Right. I swear you're American. This is you. Okay, I'm Nitro TV. You watched Bro Mad Hard, huh? Look at this. How close are you to thing here? Wow, your win rate's pretty good. You clever little sneak. Weren't you 5? I swear you were 5. I swear you're D5, but it's okay. We're watching this. I think we did Marissa recently, but that's okay. Okay, so let's see what went wrong here. Bro took me that long, and I was like, "Yo, what's your CFN?" Cricket spot. Hey, hold on now. Why can't you match make from here, bro? I don't want to match make no more. Alright, let's see. Yo. What did I tell you, brother? Stop holding it. Out of all the gameplay that you've ever Can you hear it? The answer is no, sir. Okay. The reason why I have issue with this is namely because when you're trying to take advantage of your burnout, you don't want to burn them out so early. You have so much time here. Look at their meter. Or look at their burnout meter, right? You have so much time here. But because you decided to do it too rashly, it decided, like, you did this, you fumbled the combo. Not sure why we held up. Anyways, right? Let's say you did the combo that you were imagining in your head. Even then, you would either A, burn yourself out, or B, be in the current drive gauge position that you're in right now. Right? It's lit, but I'd rather hear you more. Appreciate you. It's okay. To be honest, this stream was more so a lot of talking and video making through that. But yeah, in this situation, you dropped your combo, and let's say like you got your combo, and then you had this amount of drive gauge left. Now you've put him in a situation where he can potentially burn you out and put you in a worse position than you were in before. You feel me? Unfortunately, bro mashed, and you dropped your combo. Ugh. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of you just dashing like this. Take your time. Walk, please. Okay? Just walk. See how you're not walking? You see it? Okay, you got this. Peep your health before you start doing all this wiggly woo. Look. Jump. You got hit. Look how much damage was accrued because you decided not to walk. All you had to do was walk. You see what I'm saying? Learn to walk. It might seem a little bit funny or weird or like I'm making fun of you, whatever, but like seriously, right? A lot of folks don't know how to walk. If you learn how to walk, you'll be cooking. I'm making a video soon. Don't worry, I'm making a video soon. But you need to learn how to walk because all of this wiggly woo is getting you hit. Like you took like mad damage. Because you're trying to rush the fight too much, right? You're trying to get in, respectively so, right? This character's annoying. But you're gonna have to, if you're gonna break open this character, you're gonna have to be patient, right? Punish this. Ooh, unfortunate. Okay. Yep, here's where you're gonna have to... Brother, you need to be in the right range for this. This does nothing for you. And yes. What is going on? I don't get it. This is good when you're near your opponent. If you're full screen, unless you're Cammy, this is not an option for you. If you're Cammy, this is sure, you got it. Like you did the thing. If you're Marissa, no. Why are you doing this? Now, not only are you almost guaranteed to lose the round, okay? Not only that, but now for the next round, you got 0 smoke. 0. Right? So you can't even Le Bombo them. Oh, I can't let him cook because he gotta know the gravity of that decision might end up having him lose the entire game. Like that's how drastic a decision like that is that if you do something like that, you can lose the game. How many times have we seen enemy of the stream Jam pop a level 2 while he was in burnout, and then now he literally has no smoke for to get out of like button DI, and he dies for it. How many times? Oh no. I'm in serious teacher mode. Yeah, you gotta walk that. You gotta walk. I think you watching your gameplay back and me telling you this, now you're starting to see like how you need to implement walk. You can't be this. Oh, this song about to get me pumps. But you can't be wilding out like this on defense or while trying to get in. You see how you're doing like a bunch of options? Just accept that it's there on the screen. You're gonna have to accept it. Stop trying to skip. You're trying to bypass the walking period. You killed yourself. You're trying to bypass the walking period, but the reality is that you really can't. In this matchup, you're gonna have to accept the fact that, you're gonna have to accept that you're gonna have to walk. The fact that you won the next game, I'm gonna assume that you steamrolled them. So you got your jump in, and then you ran your offense, and then because people in Diamond aren't the greatest at dealing with offense, or at least well-structured offense, just get steamrolled. That's what I'm thinking is about to happen. Like a jump, he's gonna boom jump. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, that's the hit we're looking for. Then you're gonna run your offense. Okay. That's why you gotta stop trying to skip. And we also need to take into account our drive gauge. Right now we're not taking account of our drive gauge. Oh. Yeah, steamroll situation. Yo. Okay. Up to me. I want to know. That was probably. Are you pressing? That was probably the first time I've seen you actually just chill out on defense. Other times it feels like you're always trying to get out of the situation. You need to tighten up on your blocking. Right now, you're trying too hard to bust out of a situation. It's not good for you. And he just gets hit. Yeah. He just gets hit. See, the reason why I'm not a fan of these rounds is because although these rounds, they're good and they're like, they get you hyped or whatever have you, but they're not consistent. And the goal is to become a more consistent player. In order to do so, we need to stop holding up on defense, right? We hold up forward on defense when we truly think they're going to grab. Not every situation. Even when they're far from you, you try to hold up. See what I'm saying? Even when they're far from you, you try to hold up on the situation. You got to just walk. You know how you could have avoided that? Walk. Fun fact, in this matchup, you can actually neutral jump. Okay? That was a good parry. Pull up on this. Yeah, unfortunate. Yeah. Oh, this should be your round. Super? Oh, he just mashed. Nice bait, but okay. Nice. You see how you're not walking? I need you to walk. As a more experienced player, they're gonna be doing this. They're gonna be walking back, and when you try to jump at them, they're just gonna be ready to answer you. Your opponent obviously is not ready to do so. Please don't spend any meter, just DI him. Why? Look at our meat. Literally, this decision, you lose the game. You lose the round for this. You lose the round for this. That decision right there made the difference between converting the round and dying. Like, that's how important drive gauge is. You should be looking at that at all times. When you're getting hit, when you're comboing, when you're neutral, when you're crouch blocking, when you're stand blocking. All of it. All the time. And not just yours, you have to watch your opponents as well. It's okay. It's the first time he showed a bust out move, so I don't blame you for getting hit there. Holding up. Just walk. There you go. Bro, it's okay. You're not eating chip. Okay? Walk! Brother. Just... I don't... Nice! Unfortunate. The reason... two things that I'm seeing. Number one, you're getting super jittery. It's not Manon. They don't have like a full screen overhead or anything. Like, just walk and be chill. You jumping this, like, you've already shown the fact that you kind of missed these jumps already. Just walk. And these crouch blocks is just, they're concerning the living smoke out of me. Nice attempt, by the way. Unfortunately, you didn't get the punish on it because it was light kick. When your opponent is booming you, that's crazy. When your opponent is throwing sonic booms at you, you want to make sure that like we're walking the situation out. Because if we're trying to jump through every situation, it makes us look very predictable. And when we look very predictable, then, you know, it's very easy to find countermeasures to what you're doing, right? You want to make sure that what you're doing is as difficult to handle / deal with as possible. Right? Oh my goodness. Here we go. Okay, so let's say they do that. Right? You can either A, try and parry the situation and walk, or B, we try to neutral jump it, because when you neutral jump it, they can only have one boom on the screen. So if we find a way to deal with it, i.e. perfect parry, or block, then it allows him to press another one, right? But if we neutral jump it, then he doesn't have access to it. And then if he tries to go for it, we can try and punish him for it, right? A little bit slow on it. Right? You want to make sure that you're incorporating that. On top of which, like, just walk. Just walk. Okay? Just walk. Okay. The reason why is because this is not all for nothing. The more that you walk them to the corner like this, the more they get closer to the corner, right? At a certain point, they're going to have to make a decision on... Ooh, I almost got all perfect parries there. They're going to have to make a decision on how to approach you, right? They're going to have to make that decision. So, because at the end of the day, if they keep walking back and keep charging the entire time, eventually they're going to find themselves in the corner, right? So, once they find themselves in the corner, that's when they're going to try and be a little bit more aggressive or forcefully aggressive. Because otherwise, they'll find themselves in this space right here. Okay, can you stop holding? It was cool the first 2 times, but... Right? They're going to find themselves in this situation right here. And then when you're here, this is when you can control the game a lot better than if you were out here trying to parry booms or neutral jump booms. Right? We got to be super patient with it. Nah. Look. You see? I was doing the thing. And I'm perfect parrying them. Well, not anymore. Not anymore, but... Yeah. But anyways. So... when it comes to that, you just want to make sure that you're slowing your game down, right? Slowing your game down and making sure that when you get knocked down, they're not just trying to hold up on every situation, right? Schnoz did the thing to me. Oh, Schnoz is the jinx, bro. Brother, thank you. There's no shot I'm not getting it. Thank you. I'm done. Anyways, when you get knocked down and they throw a boom at you, stop trying to jump. Okay? If you keep trying to jump out of the situation, you're just gonna get hit. Okay? Parry the situation, then start trying to walk in again. Okay? Outside of that, you gotta just stop trying to jump over Sonic Blade. Oh, Sonic Blade, bro. There you go. Stop trying to jump over his Sonic Blade. Because if you keep trying to get over Sonic Blade, it makes you super predictable. Especially when they're chilling. Oh my god. There you go. Especially when they're just chilling there. There you go. If they're just chilling there and you try to do that, they're just gonna DP you, right? The moment you... How do I deal with them setting up double booms? Well, like I just said, they can only do one at a time, right? But if you're talking about them like setting up, brother, please help me. Thank you. If you're talking about them setting up and then going for that, that's still a situation you're gonna have to hold. That's just the nature of characters that don't have answers for it. Right? You're gonna have to deal with it because a lot of folks, they're gonna do something like they're gonna do something like this, set it up, and then drive rush behind it. Right? That's something that they're gonna do a lot of the time. But the reality is you're just gonna have to deal with it, right? So like a good example of this, let's get a proper recording. Oh. I don't know why I did that wrong. I don't know why I'm getting my fingers up. Brother, please. Brother, please. Right? Some to that extent, right? So you're gonna have to hold the situation. Unfortunately, it's not something that like you'll have very many answers to, unless you're that guy and you can double perfect parry them. If you can do that, then you can mash out of the situation. But like you see how hard it is just offline, let alone you would have to get both of them and then you can mash out of the situation. But aside from that, they can just drive rush behind the situation. Sometimes you can notice that they're a little bit slow, like in my example here. I am a little bit slow, excuse me, so you might get an opportunity to deal with it. Right? It is a difficult situation. So while you're walking them to the corner, they might just pull this on you, right? That's why Guile is particularly strong. Yeah, it's super hard to double perfect parry them, right? It is an option on the table, but it's not the greatest option. But for the most part, you're going to have to hold those. But that's why you want to make sure that you're in a range where they don't feel comfortable to just pop this. Let me see. Let me see if I see it. I think crushing. This you will be able to possibly know. So if you're, oh yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. So if you're here, it's a punish, right? If you're out here, you can't do it. But you want to be in this range here. Hold on, let me do it properly. If you're in this range, that's when it becomes a punish. Unfortunately, you don't get the punish out here. You go through it, sure, but you won't get the punish here. Right? And even as late as that, you get the punish. I'm hella delayed, so I just hear you're coming at a double boom. Oh, shoot. Sweep it. Her sweep is super slow, man. Right? Her sweep is super slow. That's at the quickest timing. It's a little bit of a risk though. That might be good. But you gotta make sure that you're doing it at the right time, I guess. If you're just like a little bit slow, then you end up getting hit by it. And I'm the reason why I'm not doing it like at frame 1, because obviously you can do it like as quickly as possible, but I'm trying to incorporate time for errors, right? They're hella delayed. Try pressing the live button, but let me see if I restart how behind it is. It should be good though. Alright. But those are the things that I wanted to go over though. Thank you for the replay, brother. What time is it? It is 9. I definitely got a close-up shop. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. You feel me? Anyways, weeaboo. If you have any other questions, just ask them in the Discord. I'll follow up with you. But yeah, but generally when you're talking about like Sonic Blade into Boom, those enhanced booms are really hard to deal with, which is why you don't want to give them that space to do so. But once they have it out on the field, it's definitely what an option you have is that you can kind of try and read. Yo, Shell, what's good? You can try and read the timing in which you're gonna try and press boom, jump at that point, almost as a read, and then you can punish them for it. If they decide to just do Sonic Blade and try to bait the jump, what happens is that you can just like chill and wait till the blade goes away, Sonic Blade goes away, and then you can just continue walking forward on that case, okay? Don't worry, you'll catch up eventually. But again, you can ask those questions in the Discord. I'm about to biggity bounce out of here, brothers. Have a good night, okay? I'm out there like swimwear. I don't think it works like that, but it's all good. Have a good night, y'all. That is the ring of the lady. Have a good night, y'all.